Chains Beneath the Mangroves, in the dense coastal air of Bimbia, 1840, a boy named Ewen crouched behind a thick curtain of mangroves, watching as white sails cut through the Gulf of Guinea waters. The Portuguese ship, painted with false names to confuse abolitionists, approached the shore with its hull ready for another human cargo. Ewen was only 12, but he had already learned to keep his breath quiet, not from games, but from survival. Bimbia, once a thriving fishing settlement of the Isubu people, had become one of the most active slave ports in what is today southwest Cameroon. From the late 1600s to the mid-1800s, thousands of Cameroonians were captured or sold and taken from this coast. Historians estimate that over 1.4 million enslaved Africans were taken from the Bight of Biafra region, including what is now Cameroon. That day, Ewen's village, located just beyond the Germanic stone ruins of Bimbia, was quiet. Too quiet. A local chief, tempted by trade goods like rum, mirrors, muskets, and cloth, had made a deal that traded lives for luxury. The Isubu and Douala middlemen often collaborated with European traders, selling war captives or even their own people to the Portuguese, Dutch, and later the British. Ewen had seen it happen. His uncle, a proud fisherman, had been shackled and dragged toward the Bimbia jetty last month. The cries of the village echoed like thunder, but nothing stopped the march. The slavers had come with manillas, copper bracelets used as currency, and rifles, and those were often enough to make even the strongest warriors bow. The ship anchored offshore. Rowboats came to collect the cargo. A British anti-slavery patrol had been spotted days before near Fernandopo, modern-day Bioko, but slavers were always one step ahead. The European captains relied on a brutal efficiency. Each ship could carry over 250 enslaved people, tightly packed, with death a statistical expectation. Over 15% died before reaching Brazil, Cuba, or Jamaica. Ewen's breath caught when he saw the slavers again, not just the white men, but 2 men from Bonabri and Douala helping them. They shouted orders in broken English and Pidgin, forcing chains onto villagers already captured in earlier raids. The smell of the holding pens lingered even across the mangroves, a mix of blood, sweat, feces, and despair. Conditions were horrific. The dungeons of Bimbia were little more than open-air pens with wooden posts for tying people like cattle. Later, European missionaries would describe the slave trade here as hell in paradise. But not all hope was lost. Ewen's older sister, Belly, had joined a growing resistance led by Christian converts and abolitionists. She worked secretly with British missionaries from the Bozo Mission, who had established outposts in Victoria, now Limba, and sought to end the trade. In 1844, the British pressured local chiefs like King William of Bimbia to sign anti-slavery treaties, though many continued in secret. That night, Ewen slipped from the mangroves and found Melly. Together, with a few freedmen and missionaries, they smuggled 10 children from the slave pens. Among them were twins from Bakosi, a pregnant teen from Bayangam, and 2 boys from Boli. They hid them in a canoe and paddled under the moonlight toward the sanctuary of Limba, where the British had promised protection. The ship sailed without its full cargo. Furious, the captain fired muskets into the air, vowing to return. And he did, again and again, until the trade was finally dismantled in the 1880s with stronger colonial control and growing pressure from abolitionist movements. Ewen grew into a man, never forgetting the chains beneath the mangroves. By 1890, when Germany officially colonized Cameroon, the transatlantic slave trade had ended, but its legacy remained: broken families, lost tongues, stolen names. Today, Bimbia's ruins still whisper of that time: the jetty, the stone steps, the iron shackles rusting beneath the soil. And tourists walk past the trees where Ewen once hid, never knowing a boy once changed the fate of 10 lives with just a canoe and courage.